I have to record this because it's just so vivid right now. So, okay, so December 1st, I woke up and I was really upset when I woke up because I didn't want to wake up. I had seen something that in my dream that just kind of changed everything. And normally I have a notebook beside my bed, and whenever I have like a wild dream or a crazy dream, that I'll write it down, and because I don't want to forget. And I've had dreams, so I mean, all my life I think I've always been a dreamer. But anyway, this one was really, really super vivid. And okay, so it begins with the world was dark. It was really super dark. I mean, not only physically dark, but like you could feel this spiritually dark. And Sim and Trey, my husband and my son, my youngest son, we were in a side by side. And it was crazy because the world was like so dark that people weren't buying anything or couldn't buy anything, and people were looting everything, and everything that you had stored up, everything that was like that was of value, people were just taking. And so my husband was like, okay, we need to get in the side by side. He said, I've got this place that no one knows about, and we can get there. And so we were in a side by side, and he was pulling a trailer, like a small open trailer, and we were going around this curve, and he was talking about this place, and so as we were going around this curve, at Jackknife, the trailer Jackknife, and so I jumped out, and I was picking up the other end of the trailer and picking it up and trying to put it back on the right path. And he was gassing it, we were trying to get it to get unstuck. And so he was gassing it, and I was like, oh my gosh, look, I was like, the moon is on fire. And the sky was so black, it was so dark. I could see the trees everywhere too, but it was crazy how dark the sky was. And I said, look, the moon's on fire. And he looked out and he said, there's no moon in the sky. And I said, it's on fire. And all of a sudden, this moon, it looked like the moon, I guess, I don't know. And it just got bigger and bigger. And it was like pure white. And it was so huge. And this figure was like coming in the middle of it. I could see the shadow of this figure that was coming in the middle of it. And if you've never, I can, and I do canning stuff, and it reminded me of how you slip tomato skins, but my body literally slipped out of my body. I don't know how to describe it any different than that. And somehow, I don't know at what point, but I had a hold of Trey's hand, and his body slipped out of his body too. And we were going, and he was laughing in such joy, and he was like, Mom, look at all the people, and you can look around and you can see all these people just slipping out of their bodies, and it was like jets going straight towards the light, towards that big, huge now opening where you can see this figure in the middle of it, and you can see I don't know if other figures around it, or I don't know, but you just knew that's where you were going. And it was like streaks through the sky, and these streaks were going straight to us so fast, and there was such laughter and joy. And all of a sudden I'm standing there, kind of thing. At some point, Trey, I let go of Trey's hand, or he let go of mine, and but I knew it was okay. And I ended up in this waiting room, like almost, it reminded me kind of like an airport, like waiting area before you go to the next plane, like how Atlanta's got that big, huge, and then you're just waiting for your next, airplane. But there was no walls. It was wild. It was like there was no walls. And I was there just for a few seconds, and then all of a sudden it was like I was jetted back, to somewhere else, and it was like this bubble thing. I don't even know how to describe it, but I could feel myself go through this bubble barrier or something, kind of thing, and oh my goodness, when I got there, and I just looked around, and it was like these rolling hills, the greenest, I don't even know how to describe this, like that, it was like, there was dark green, but bright at the same time, and it was just like such vivid colors, like everything was vivid, and it was just so wild looking, and it was breathtaking. It was absolutely beautiful, and it was so clear. You could breathe. I mean, when you breathed, it just was like, I don't know, just, it was like you take everything. And so I look over in this rolling hill, this rolling hill, and there's almost like a tractor looking thing. I don't even know, but I remember the discs on this thing. It was tilling up the ground, and it was so deep. It was tilling so deep, and it was pulling up all this richness, all this dark and just soft looking dirt. It just was tilling this up, like it was like pure. It was the weirdest thing. It was like there was nothing in it. There was nothing, no rocks, no weeds, no nothing. It was just like this pure, like this ground, and it was tilling it up. And I'm standing next to this like bar, this not coffee bar, but like I don't even know. It was like just bar. It had like, and this man was standing there, and I remember us thinking, like how out of place he was, because the fact that he had like pimples all over his face, kind of thing, but when he grinned and he talked, he was so full of joy and happiness and excitement, but yet he was like excited, and he made you excited, but at the same time he had such a calmness about him too, that he made you just feel okay, and he was talking, and I was standing there at this bar, kind of thing, this I don't even know, it wasn't wood, I don't even know what it was, but it was just like I was standing there, and there was these drinks on there, and they were all the same, kind of thing, and they had it looked almost like a pop can kind of thing, kind of thing, but it was skinny, and I'm standing there, and I was like, I felt so thirsty, and I grabbed it, and as soon as I grabbed it, he started talking, and he said, and I said, this is so beautiful, and he said, I know, and I was like, and I'm looking at this ground, this till just being tilled, and this long strips of till, and there was tons of people. I mean, like, I should have said this a minute ago, but there was tons and tons of people. I like tons of people, but at the same time, it didn't feel crowded. It was really weird. It was like it didn't feel like, how like if you're going somewhere where it's like super crowded, you get that weird feeling, kind of thing, or you're like, ooh, it was tons of people, but it didn't feel like that. It felt I don't know, like you've known them all your life, and they've known you all your life, and so, anyway, I'm looking at this ground, kind of thing, and I'm holding this can in my hand, and I said, I love to plant seeds. I love to grow things. I love to put my hands in the dirt. I love to harvest things. And he said, we know. That's why we sent you here. This is where you're going to be working. And I was like so overjoyed. I was like, I just felt such a completeness and a fullness and a home, but I don't know, it's just wild. And I took a drink of this drink, and it was the most satisfying drink I've ever had, and it was like, it just made you so full, and at the same time you didn't want to stop drinking it, you just wanted more. And I said, man, this is like an energy boost, and he started laughing, and he said, look at it. And I picked it up, this can, right? I picked it up, and I pulled it over like this, and it was hollow on the inside. And I was like, how is this even possible? But yet I took another drink, and I could feel it. It was almost like crystals in your mouth, kind of thing. And it just like, they just stayed there, and they just quenched your thirst. But at the same time, you couldn't stop drinking it. And then all of a sudden I was like, where's my husband? And I heard his name being yelled. I heard people yelling his name and excited, kind of thing. And I was like, oh, he's fine. And then I woke up, my stupid alarm went off. And I was like so mad that my alarm went off. Cause like I said, normally I get up and I like, if I dream, I've never had a dream like this. Like before COVID, I had a dream about everything, all that stuff, kind of thing. And it freaked me out, kind of thing. And, but I've been careful about writing down, like anything that's like, I don't know. But, When I woke up and I was so mad. I was like, God, I was like, I don't want to forget this. But I couldn't get out of bed. It was weird. I couldn't, like, it was almost like I couldn't move my body to go write it down. And I was like, I was like, I want to write this down. And then I was like, please, God, don't let me forget it. You know, Kathy, don't let me forget this. And so I was laying there and I was like trying to talk myself into getting up and writing this down because I wanted to draw it. I mean, I really wanted to draw it because what I saw is just like, I don't even know. And so I didn't, and I was laying there and God just like put this comfort on my heart that He wasn't going to let me forget it, but also that this was like a reminder to pray for people and to make sure that I am ready and that I don't want to miss it. I don't want to miss that. I don't want to miss the rapture. I don't want to miss, and that I am ready because He's coming back and He's coming back for His people. And we have to be ready. And it just was so clear. And then I couldn't, and so anyway, the next morning, that morning, I woke up and it's like, and I remembered it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I remembered it. And then I had to, like get my husband's lunch packed and stuff, and I was like, and then all of a sudden I forgot it. And I was like, and I didn't even, like, nothing. It's like I didn't even have a dream. And then later on in the day, it was probably, I don't know, probably about 3 o'clock maybe, kind of thing. My husband gets home around 4, and around 3 o'clock, I was, this video popped up on my YouTube, not my channel, but on my YouTube, and it was like this video of, Charlie Kirk, and it was this one video that I don't even know what it was about, but anyway, it's like this little clip that he steps up from the tent, underneath the tent where he was murdered, and he steps up on the yellow steps, and instantly I could remember my whole dream. It was wild. I mean, and I didn't have no yellow steps or nothing like that, in my dream, but instantly I could see the whole thing. So I typed it up. I typed it up as soon as I could, kind of thing, and I sent it to one of my friends, who's one of my prayer partners. I'm sorry. I've been crying the whole entire time. I sent it to one of my prayer partners, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, I can see it. How you wrote it." And I was like, I can't even describe it, like how I saw it. And then today, a day later, it's almost like like when you find out you're pregnant or something, and you don't really want to share, you don't even know what to think about it, kind of thing, and you just kind of like hold it in, kind of thing. That's how I felt about this. I told my husband, I said, hey, I had a dream about Rapture, and he was like, oh, that's cool, kind of thing, and never asked me anything else, and I don't even think I could have explained it yesterday to him. But today, God put on my heart, one of my other friends, kind of thing, he said, call her and tell her, don't just send it to her, to call her and tell her. So I called her and told her, and instantly she sent me to the scripture of Revelations 19. And I probably read it at some point in my life, kind of thing, or heard it, because I listen to the Bible all the time, kind of thing. Has been through it like 100 times listening to it. So I probably have heard it, but I never really, I don't know. And I'm telling you, when she read that, it was like I could see it all over again. It was crazy. Anyway, I thought I would video this because I don't want to forget. I don't want to forget. And I know life gets busy and life gets crazy, and it's going to get dark. It's going to get real dark, and I don't want to forget. I don't want to forget the hope, and I don't want to forget that I need to be praying for my children. I need to be praying for those that are lost in this darkness, and I need to be praying for myself. I need to be praying and staying diligent and fervent, and keeping my eyes on Jesus. So anyway, I just thought I would video it.